Chris Wang is with us, Research Director of Runnymede Capital Management, where he has not one, but two Chinese stocks that, while we weren't watching, gained more than 50%. Certainly a nice run-up. Why are you watching these Chinese stocks so closely?
I think everyone knows that China is an exciting opportunity. And this summer, China retail actually overtook the U.S. market as the biggest retail market in the world. $6.2 trillion is being spent in China. So I think you have to have exposure to the Chinese consumer. And two of those ideas are JD.com and Pinduoduo, which have both exceeded 50% growth this year.
Yeah, so let's go right to JD.com. You mentioned the big run-up that we've seen, no doubt. It's stellar when we looked at it. And what are your thoughts on JD.com when you break it down?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the consumer space, the big giant in the space is obviously Alibaba, which has about 70% market share. And the number two position is JD.com, which is about 20% of the market. So it's still a huge player. It's growing at around 20 to 25% every year, and it's trading at a PE to growth rate of about 1. So it's not trading at a rich valuation, but you're getting huge growth.
Wow, that's actually a very good valuation. And you talk about the millions and millions, over 300 million active users there. You mentioned Alibaba too. I just can't get over the fact that, you know, a name like Alibaba really ran up, right? Recently, it was up to $200. Sort of was left for dead for a little while during the China trade war, and somehow has made this turnaround. Are people just not caring anymore about what's going on with tariffs or the trade war and investing again?
Yeah, you have to separate those two issues, because the trade war, China's exports to the U.S. is really only 4% of China's national income, so it's not a huge portion of their economy actually anymore. And they are really transitioning to a service-based economy. So you have to be focused on the segments that are growing, and that's the Chinese consumer. As their wealth grows, they're going to spend on healthcare, entertainment, food, and consumer goods. So that plays into the hands of these big e-commerce players.
I just can't get over the numbers, too. You were talking about the net revenues of 2018, around $67 billion. 2019, maybe $100 billion.
Correct.
And so 2020 and 2021, so you think this is one to hold for the longer term?
I think it is one to hold for the longer term. And you have to have exposure to the Chinese consumer because it's growing so fast.
What kind of return? Okay, so when these stocks are up more than 50%, what kind of return are you expecting? Like, you're telling me, hey, this is one to pick up. Am I going to make 10% of my money next year, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to just take the one year-to-date picture. Okay. If you look back 2 years, JD.com was trading as high as, I think, $50 to $60 a share. So there's still upside in the stock. It's hard to predict a year-to-year move.
Yeah, and how about Pinduoduo? Because this one, PDD is the ticker symbol. I mean, it's had a great year to date, but even the last 6 months have been stellar. 6 months, 85% gain.
Yeah, I think Pinduoduo is one of the most exciting stories, I think, anywhere.
What does the company do?
They are it's an app, but it uses social media to leverage group buying. So it's a combination of a Costco into a Facebook. So they leverage Tencent's WeChat network, which has 1.2 billion users. And the more friends you get involved in a purchase, the lower the price you pay. So you could save up to 90% on a purchase.
Now, are these things that can be used here in the States as well? I mean JD.com, obviously.
JD,
I don't use JD.com, nor do, or how do I say it? Pinduoduo?
Pinduoduo.
I don't use that either. Do you use those? Do you have friends who use those things?
I think Pinduoduo, the amazing thing is that it was founded only 4 years ago, and today it has 500 million users on the platform. It is the fastest growing company, I think, anywhere in history with that type of growth. They had over $30 billion in gross merchandise volume pass through their platform in the last quarter. That puts them at 10% market share that was coming from 0 to 4 years ago. So, I mean, the growth has been just spectacular.
And I think also they have a great partnership with Amazon, which is interesting, until December, right?
Pinduoduo? Yeah. They have a partnership with Tencent. So they're owned 18% by Tencent. So they are able to leverage their WeChat network, which has huge users.
Wait a second. Oh, Amazon opens a pop-up store on China's Pinduoduo until the year ends. So now we got it right, so that we know. It's pretty amazing, right? They're going to battle it all out. We'll see what happens, and these are good ones for going forward. Great to see you, Chris Wang. Thank you so much, Research Director of Runnymede Capital Management. Thanks for joining us on the show and bringing these exciting stocks to us.